Hi, everybody.
Hi, Rocky.
I was so glad to meet Rocky. I'd never met him before. Look, he's like.
Oh,
The lovablest guy in the world.
there's a lot of brothers from different mothers in this place, but I tell you what, it's just a wonderful thing. Well, welcome to Get Off the Grid Fest. First, let me have a little conversation about what the grid is. We talked about, you got Solar 101 right there, right? The North American power grid is the largest, most complicated, most expensive, heaviest machine ever devised by man by a factor of 10. It's thousands. The power grid is that 60 cycle hum that we get from the power grid is the heartbeat of civilization. If that 60 cycle hum stops, everything stops. You can't pump gas, you can't go to an ATM, you can't get refrigerated food, everything is screwed. So basically civilization hangs on those dangerously long wires. Now I have nothing but respect for the men and women. As a former AT&T plant engineer, I have nothing but the highest respect for the men and women who make this thing work and work so reliably and so inexpensively. So we just have to take our hats off right now to the undisputable master of alternating current right there. You can see it, the North American power grid. There's just one little piece of it right there. Okay? Great people doing a wonderful job keeping civilization functioning. These are not our enemies. These are the people who make us, our civilization work. That said, there's a whole new phase in smart grid technology coming around because our power grid is so large and so old, and a lot of it was built during wartime. Okay, so you have these corridors going up what's called the Rust Belt now. We have these major power transmission lines going to no productivity, right? So things are moving around the country, jobs, industry, everything's moving all over the country. So the power grid is going to have to adjust to where it's happening at, okay? So this is all about building civilization better for the 21st century. Now 130 years ago, there was a big argument going on between Thomas Alva Edison and Nikolai Tesla and Westinghouse, right? Nikolai Tesla and Westinghouse actually won the argument in alternating current because alternating current is required to push power over long distance. Edison's idea of safe, low voltage, local DC power could not really work over 1 mile. Over 1 mile, it would fall off because of a capacitance wave, and I don't want to get too technical about it. The fact of the matter is, now with the invention of what was described as the Bell solar battery, I'm going to tell you what the Bell solar battery is. It's the silicon chip that makes the solar panel work. The Bell system, the entire communications evolution and revolution, was built on DC power. It's a DC power system. So as a former AT&T plant engineer, early in my days of troubleshooting, I'd be out there in the field, I'd get these trouble tickets, there's noise on these lines. I'd go out there and I'd follow it back to a house and find out that, hey, this guy's running a clock on the telephone line because he's too cheap to pay for, just because he could. You know what I mean? So look,
True.
Edison was right, but he was right at the wrong time. It took 130 years later for the transistor to evolve. Now, all of us old timers here, remember that before the transistor, every radio had to be plugged into that steam machine. That is a steam machine, right? You had to plug it into an outlet. When the transistor was developed, you could stick a little battery in a little box this big and take your tunes with you. We were Sky, right? That was like, predecessor to the boombox, okay? So, at any rate, and that led to what we describe as the Internet of Things, right? Everything digital, 100% of everything digital works on native voltage direct current inside the box. Every computer you got, every cell phone, every tablet, from the ground base to the satellites, to the big storage systems, the server farms don't even mess with alternating current. They don't even mess with it. Those big server racks are running on machines called the Bloom Box. Anybody hear of the Bloom Box? Bloom Box is a machine that came out not a full 7 or 8 years ago that you just run natural gas into it. It is an actual reactor.
Really?
Right. And what it does is it turns, right? You've heard of the Bloom Box, right? No, there was $400 million spent on it. Where is that technology? Why don't we have it now? Well, it's in the server farms, right? It makes direct current. So it makes electricity and water. The only it does. It starts with natural gas or any hydrocarbon and makes electricity and water. So, point being, server farms know what's going on. Fact of the matter is, if we change what we buy to energy store devices, then we can change this from the bottom up. The less energy you use, the less energy you pay for. It's real simple. Now, getting back to the transistor radio for a second. Here's the first, one of the first. This is a Boston Acoustics zone amp, right? See this little thing right here? It's got a little DC plug on it, right? This is when you had speakers in your bedroom that were made by Boston Acoustics, and you wanted to have that nice Boston Acoustic sound that came out of your television that was in your bedroom. So you put this in the wall, into a box, right? And you plugged your little thing in, you plugged in your audio, and this little digital amplifier at 15 watts a channel was $550. Think about that. Had the brand, the Boston Acoustics on it. It was a reputable company. It had a backing. So this is $550, circa 1995. Okay? Now, a few years later, TriPath, digital audio power amplifiers. Now these huge bands are carrying racks that weigh 30 or 40 or 50 pounds for an entire rack. The box is as heavy as 20,000 watts worth of audio power for a band. But see, this is the next generation, the Class T digital amplifier. And these are as good as high-end audio, high-end tube amps that people pay $10,000, $20,000 for these custom-made tube amps that need to be tweaked and changed. But this is compatible to some of the best audio power amplifiers you can buy. From there,
The price.
this is a number of years old. You can't buy one of these.
Okay, you gave us a price on the first
Well,
one.
this price point was probably about $200.
Okay.
Okay. Now here we go. Moving forward in a direct current logical evolution. Okay. This is a complete integrated amplifier. 50 watts. This is only 30 watts a channel. This has got two 50-watt amplifiers in it that are probably not quite audiophile grade, but a lot higher power. They sacrificed a little bit of audio, but not enough to notice the difference. It's got D to A, digital, all the digital stuff in there. It's got the remote control. This is now your receiver. You know that big box you got in that whole rack? This is it right here. You got fiber optic in, you got SPDIF audio in, you got subwoofer out, 19 volts. This machine is between 83 and 93% efficient, turning very little energy into a whole lot of really great sound, easily controlled. So what I'm trying to tell you about is a logical evolution towards direct current devices. Now, split ductless air conditioning. Let's talk about the big heavy loads, right? The new generation of air conditioning are called inverter-based split ductless. What they're doing is they're taking the steam power, converting it back into DC, converting it into DC to run native voltage DC compressor and native voltage DC air handler. See what I mean? So, what's the sense? You're taking the solar off of your roof. Unless these guys, this is the state of the art, and they're not doing anything wrong. They're doing it the right way. That's kosher. But what's the point of taking safe, non-lethal, low voltage DC, jacking it up to high voltage, surrendering it to the undisputable master of alternating current, making them your partner, right? Because they're in charge of the return on investment, right? So whatever power you give them, like if you give them 7 units of power, they'll pay you for 3, right? So it's an unbalanced partnership. They got no investment and all the control. And when you talk about return on investment, what's the return on investment? Well, who knows what power is going to be in 5 years? Does anybody here know what power is going to cost in 5 years? Hell no. We have no idea. We do know the plant Vogel is like how many $1 billion over and how many years over late, and they just fired up another one. Look, I have no problem with the steam machine, other than we don't need that many of them. And this is like, when we talk about, global warming or climate and all that other stuff. I don't know about I'll answer questions later. I don't know about greenhouse gases, but I learned something as a little kid. Burn makes hot. Alternating current cannot be stored. It must be dissipated. So as we learned from Fukushima, if you have no place to put the power, right, you have to cool that reactor off. You have to dissipate that energy, right? Once you fire up a great big pile of coal, well, you can't turn that off. So when we're all running our air conditioners during the day, at the end of the day, if you look at the substation, there's these huge transformers where they burn that power off because they have to stay above and in front of the load. They do a really good job. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this. I'm saying that's just what it is. It's not immoral, it's amoral. It is what is the necessity of civilization. But if we change what we buy, we can change the power. There can be no free market for energy without power to choose. And that's why I came up with this whole idea from the very beginning, because there was no free market. Now we have created a free market where you and I, where we can, from the bottom up, by what we buy, move to ultra efficient devices with an outboard DC power supply. If it's got one of these, we can make that son of a gun run directly on electrons that are coming off of your roof. My air conditioning in my house, I call it thermodynamic jujitsu. Think about this, like a leaf in a tree. A leaf picks up that energy and turns it into usable for the sustenance, right? Well, that's exactly what we're doing in the air conditioning in my house. When the more sun I have, the more cold we make. And then if my battery is, because it goes right past the battery and it goes right into the machine. It makes cold air. So when I have too much power, I charge my electric car. I cannot make gasoline, but I can make electricity. Think about that, right? So at any rate, about 7 years ago, I was involved with this sort of stuff. And this is about 7-year-old LED technology. You're looking at 1,000 lumens, right? At 1 amp. Well, thereabouts.
12 volts?
Well, right now this is 12 volts. It could be 1,000 lumens at 1 amp. It's changed trade volts for amperage. So 2 years ago, this came out. This is 1,000 lumens for 3/4 of an amp. Now, behold, chip on board technology. This is 96 integral light emitting diode chips that produce as much light as either of those two bars at half the amount of power. This, my friends, makes all, and I say, listen to me, every single light bulb as you know it is now obsolete, because you can take a very small solar setup and put a very small wiring system in your house that's no different than wiring up for cable. As a matter of fact, Cat 5 cable, who's got Cat 5 cable in their house for networks? 3/4 of you put your hand up and say, we have network cabling in the house. What's it being used for? Nothing. So with a very small investment, in the very near future, if we can find the capital, we're going to be able to build systems where two men, average guys, don't have to be electricians, don't have to know nothing from nothing.
Or one woman.
One, that's me.
Yeah.
That's right. Real strong one.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make
Come on,
sure
let me
we were
finish.
clear about it. Go
We're
ahead.
recording this. Two guys are going to be able to put a power system in that'll give you your computer absolute unbreakable power supply for your lighting and your communications. Because if the lights go out, you want the internet, and you want to know that you're safe in your house, right? And this system will run 24/7, 365, and pay for itself over a very short period of time. And from there, all of a sudden you start thinking, changing the way you think about power. Because if you got a power system that's plugged in, if you got a lighting system plugged into your old telephone cable in the house, and the lights go on, well then you don't hit that light switch. And you don't forget to turn the light switch off. You know, you just become accustomed to when you walk in the room, the light's on. Your basic lighting is there. You don't have to look around for anything. So basically, what's happening is something that's really, really wonderful. Today, I just want to let you know that we all have power to choose. A free market means to bring things from the bottom up, because we all know that they're not going to take care of us. They're going to take care of us with energy from the top down. We know that for sure. And you know they're going to take out of our ass every single nickel they can get out of us for it too, and what the market will bear. Up until now, there has been no power to choose. Now, what is power to choose in the simplest form? This, like for instance, this is a perfect example of the configuration. It's a way to harvest energy, and it doesn't matter whether it's wind or water or solar, but this is a nice little solar light. $60, 100 LEDs, okay? So you got a way to harness the energy, a way to store it in a battery, a way to control it, and a way to use it right there where God gave it to you. It already belongs to you. It belongs to you. It belongs to you. It belongs to all of us. So my problem is, the reason why I can't find funding for this is because I can't patent it. You dig it? Just like a plant. You can't patent a plant, then it's not going to be one of your medicines. This is our medicine. This is our way of walking softly on the earth. When it comes to digital devices, the power they use is the power to choose. Thanks.